Whether you choose to believe it or not, yes, it's that time of year again. It's E3 speculation season. I can't believe we're only just 2 weeks away from Nintendo's E3 presentation on June the 11th. The time has just gone by so quickly. But what gets everybody excited for E3 is obviously the potential of things that could be shown in the event, especially the new games. Now, we've been fortunate enough for the Switch that Nintendo has brought many of the series that fans really enjoy to the console, and have already announced some series that are going to be releasing on the console that fans really want to see. These range from the Mario Makers to the top-down Zeldas to the Metroid Primes and more. But in this video, I wanted to focus on potential games that could get announced at E3 that are brand new series that we haven't seen on the Switch yet. Now, I'm not saying that the series that I'm talking about in this video are necessarily guaranteed to be revealed at E3 or anything like that, but I do have evidence for each of the 6 that I'm going to be talking about today for why they may have a chance at being shown there. And as always, I really appreciate your input, and let me know in the comment section down below what series that aren't on the Switch yet that you'd really like to see. Obviously, I don't have enough time to talk about every single series that isn't on the Switch yet in this video, and there's going to be some that I miss, so I encourage you to leave some down below. And if you're new here and want to stay up to date on the latest E3 2019 coverage for Nintendo, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so that you do not miss anything. With that being said, let's get started. The first series that I wanted to talk about in this video is a potential Mario RPG. Now, we do already have the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle game on the Nintendo Switch, but that is a Ubisoft title, and I'm mainly focusing on an established Mario RPG series here, such as Mario and Luigi or Paper Mario, maybe even a Mario RPG sequel. Who am I kidding, that's probably never going to happen, but the first two I definitely think are possibilities. Now, Nintendo in recent years has been saying that they're straying away the Paper Mario series from its RPG roots and focusing more on the action elements, but if you ask hardcore Paper Mario fans, they would definitely prefer to go back into the direction of the Thousand Year Door and the original. Nintendo has managed to accomplish great things with some of the newer titles, but most of it gets overshadowed by the negatives that are within them, and the originals are much more cherished in the eyes of Paper Mario fans. A series that I think has more likelihood to come to the Switch though is Mario and Luigi. My reasoning for this is that the last 2 releases in the Mario and Luigi series have been remakes of previous games for the 3DS. These have been Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga and Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, which both got remade. And for development resources to be spent on remaking games, it could be buying time to develop a new engine for a Mario and Luigi title on the Nintendo Switch. It'll allow Alpha Dream to have some time to develop all of the control aspects and the graphical style, and all the things that come with a brand new Mario and Luigi release on the Switch. Some reasons for why I would want a new Mario and Luigi title, or any other Mario RPG for that matter, is because the stories of those games, if done right, can be very captivating and can completely immerse you into the experience. The fun RPG combat elements are secondary sometimes to how well the story is written. It'd also be fun to see how the Mario and Luigi series would be transitioned over to a home console for the first time. Yes, the Nintendo Switch is portable as well, but it's a much higher graphical end than the developers are used to working with, and there may be a challenge to overcome there. We'll have to see on that one, but the next series that I'm going to be talking about has been rumored in the past to be coming to the Switch, but we just haven't seen it yet. I'm talking about the Star Fox series. Now, we do have Starlink Battle for Atlas on the Nintendo Switch, which does contain Star Fox content, but that's not really a Star Fox game. I'm talking about either a mainline Star Fox title or what has been previously rumored in the past, Star Fox Racing. Now, I think those rumors came out around a year ago, and when they came out, I thought about it a little bit, and it kind of shocked me and took me aback at first, but once I thought more about it, I began to realize just how good a concept like this could work, and perhaps can reinvigorate the Star Fox series. The mainline Star Fox games have been on-rail shooters, a genre which hasn't seemed to captivate modern audiences if you judge by the sales of some of the newer Star Fox titles, especially Star Fox Zero, which definitely didn't sell very well. But what if you combine this on-rails aspect where you're going in a straight path with a concept of racing? So there's going to be a reason for you to go along this path, but now you're going to have to try to finish it as quickly as possible. Envision a racing game where you're going to have to shoot down enemies and asteroids in your way, potentially fight bosses. It could remind you a lot of the boss mode in Mario Kart DS. The Star Fox series has many different characters as well who you could implement in a race like this. Not to mention how you could transform the R-Wing into the Landmaster, have it sort of be like Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing transformed. This could be a very interesting concept and create a very fun game. I know F-Zero fans aren't too excited about the prospect of this rumor because it would mean Nintendo is trying to experiment with a brand new racing series instead of bringing back their beloved racing series from the past. I do think Star Fox Racing does have a slight chance of showing up at E3 just because of the past rumors, but those rumors could definitely be wrong, and if they are, we could get a mainline Star Fox title. But one thing I'm willing to bet on is that F-Zero probably won't be at E3. Unfortunately. The next series that I wanted to talk about is Pikmin. Now, just a main question I just want to throw out there. Where is Pikmin 4? I believe it was back in 2015 when Shigeru Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 was almost done. Now, some had later thought that he was referring to Hey Pikmin, which released on the 3DS, but Hey Pikmin was a spin-off title, and it seems to be very clear from the quote that Shigeru Miyamoto was actually referring to a mainline Pikmin title, so that would completely rule out Hey Pikmin from being the title that he was referring to. Not to mention, the titling of Hey Pikmin is different from the previous Pikmin titles 1, 2, and 3, instead of Pikmin 4, which is what he was asked about. The Pikmin series has been known to provide such a fun and unique style of gameplay. It's very Nintendo to me. Nintendo in that it does something unique and strays away from the norm, and that's something that would be great to see at E3. I don't want to talk bad about the press conferences from the other companies because I'm a Nintendo fan and my viewpoint is probably a little bit biased in this department, but if you look at a Microsoft press conference, for example, a lot of the graphics for the games, they look very similar. They go for more of a realistic appeal. A lot of them are shooters and whatnot, but Pikmin just stands out. It's unlike anything else. It's sort of a puzzle adventure game all on its own, and it's just something that I think would be really captivating to see at E3, especially when there's a time when there aren't all entirely Nintendo fans watching the press conference. I myself and most other people will watch as many of the press conferences as they can from other companies just to see what they're up to. And hey, maybe if I'm super impressed with the PlayStation press conference, I may go out and buy the next PlayStation console, who knows. But Pikmin fans have been dying to see a new game in the series release, especially when they know that it's coming and we just haven't found out about it yet. You do have to remember that 2015 was during the Wii U days, and when Miyamoto was asked about it then, perhaps he didn't envision it being transferred over to the Nintendo Switch, which is what the general consensus of speculation is saying that happened to Pikmin 4. Another thing that I think a fan base could really use to see at E3 is a 2D Metroid title. I mentioned earlier on in the video that Metroid Prime is another series that's confirmed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch eventually, but if you recall back in January, it was announced that Metroid Prime 4 was delayed. Unless development was actually restarted a long time before Nintendo decided to publicly announce it, Metroid Prime 4 has no chance of being shown at E3 in my opinion. I think it's unlikely to release for a few more years just because you're completely restarting a development cycle. But if Metroid fans aren't going to be seeing their beloved Prime series for a couple more years, then wouldn't it be nice to tie them over with a new 2D Metroid title releasing? And a new 2D Metroid game is something that we haven't seen in a long time. We got the release of Samus Returns on the 3DS in 2017, but that was a remake of an older title, not an entirely new one. But the release of Samus Returns does show that Nintendo is willing to create 2D Metroid games again, so it lends credence to the idea that it could be shown in E3 as a new 2D Metroid title, around the year that Metroid Prime 4 was originally planned to release, so that you could have this big year of Metroid and get the fans all excited about this one year, with one game releasing around the beginning of the year and one game releasing in holiday season of the year. But because Metroid Prime 4 had to be delayed, you could still end up releasing this 2D Metroid title that was hypothetically developed at the time that it was supposed to, just as a way to tie the Metroid fanbase over. But it's entirely possible that we're not getting a 2D Metroid game, and this series may not come to the Switch at all. It would be fun to see it though. The fifth series that I wanted to talk about in this video is the Wario series. There are no Wario games on the Switch yet, and E3 could be the perfect opportunity to bring back the Wario Land series, which is something that we haven't seen in quite some time. A reason that I believe the Wario series could be coming back is because Nintendo released WarioWare Gold last year, showing that they do still have interest in making Wario series titles. Now, this is a much smaller game released on the 3DS, so who really knows how much influence this has on the Wario series really being brought back? But one thing is for certain, there's a lot of fans who would love to see a Wario game on the Switch. The platforming, puzzle gameplay of the Wario series is really unique, and the control aspects that have been implemented in some of the previous Wario Land titles have been very interesting. The motion controls of the Joy-Cons could definitely be implemented in so many different ways to make a new Wario game's experience feel that much more important. If Nintendo decides to show Wario at E3 in some capacity, it'll definitely get a lot of people excited, and it could definitely create a very memorable experience for Nintendo Switch owners. The last series that I want to talk about today that could potentially come to the Switch for the first time with an E3 reveal is the Punch-Out series. This one may be the least likely out of the series that I'm talking about in this video, but it's worth a shot to talk about it anyways. I do have some reasons for it, so stick with me here. The last new Punch-Out title we got was on the Wii, and it's been a long time since then. Fans of the series are certainly looking for more, considering how much buzz there was upon the announcement that Punch-Out would be coming to Nintendo Switch Online, especially after Mike Tyson was complaining about how he wasn't included in the new one. I think it's safe to assume that the fan base is still there for Punch-Out, but what is another reason that could lend me to believe that Nintendo may be making a new one? I mainly think it's just because of how much Nintendo is trying to promote their fighting games recently. They set up the Nintendo Versus account, which talks about all their fighting games and whatnot, Smash Brothers primarily, but also ARMS, Pokken Tournament, and more. These are all fighting games on the Nintendo Switch, and they're seeming to try to capitalize on the fighting game market, and obviously all of these have different sections of appeal, and Punch-Out would probably fit right in. ARMS is a 3D fighting game, Smash is a 2D fighting game, Pokken Tournament is a combination of the two types. But Punch-Out is a little bit different. It puts you just behind Little Mac. It's a different perspective than the fighting games that are currently on the Switch. And considering that there's many fans who would like a new Punch-Out game to release and the market is there, and that there's this gap to fill on the Nintendo Switch, doesn't that all line up for a likelihood of a new Punch-Out game releasing? Maybe not, but who knows. It would definitely get a lot of hype if it was revealed in Nintendo's E3 presentation. I'm so very excited for Nintendo's E3 presentation, I can't wait until it drops, and to see if any of these new series potentially come to the Switch. But I'm even still excited to find out more information about some of the games that they already have announced. There's a lot that's coming to the Switch right now. I mean, I guess they sort of have to release a lot in the second half of the year because, well, the first half was pretty lackluster to say the least. Let me know what you think about my ideas and some of yours in the comment section down below, and be sure to check out some of the recent videos that I've made if you're interested. I've got some of them linked for you on the screen now. And with that all being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.